All right, as we approach the end of the year, this is one of my favorite times of year because you get a chance to reflect on what you've done this year and what you're going to do next year. And so the topic I want to talk about a little bit today is how do you communicate those reflections to your team? How do you celebrate this year and plan for next year? How do you communicate transparently what's on your mind and where you're going as you flip the page in the calendar and head into the next year? So I'm going to tell you about two important things that I've done for the last several years that I think really set the tone for our team going into each new calendar year. The first one is a simple CEO letter, or I call it the note from Chris. So really that's all it is. It's a document, it's a letter, but I've got a format for that letter that's kind of nostalgic in nature. It lets me go through some things I want to celebrate, and it lets me communicate what we're planning for. And I suggest that you copy it, steal it, take this idea and write one for your team too, because it's been really well received. All right, so sometime in December, I haven't done this yet, but sometime before the clock strikes 12 on midnight of the next year, I am sitting down and kind of reflecting on what's on my mind. And the nature of this letter, of this note that I write everyone, is usually kind of something like, what a great group of people that we've gotten together. We've accomplished so much together. Here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to review. And I go through the beginning part of just kind of reflecting on our numbers. And so the first section is really about metrics. And so I consider how many people did we start the year with? How many people did we end the year with if it was a growth year for us, if we were hiring people? And I talk about, some of the leaders that we've hired, or maybe some people that your team might be surprised to know, wow, that was only this year that person's been here. They've made such a huge impact. I talk about our revenue and how our revenue grew from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. I talk about other important metrics for us, the kind of North Star sort of metrics. How did our net revenue retention do, which is a really important thing as a SaaS company for the health of your customer base. I talk about the average price that people pay us, which we measure year over year, and how that is. And then I talk about how many customers or how many companies we're serving with our platform. And so again, it's just a way to reflect back and for people to see, wow, we've come a long way in this calendar year in 12 months. The next section is, what am I thinking about the most? Where is my head going into next year? And this is typically thematic. And it's really just a deep dive for me to say, here are the questions I'm asking myself. As I've been meeting with my mentors, thinking about this business, here's what's on my mind that I know we need to focus on going into next year. Here's what's going to make next year a success. If we are thinking about this area, or if we're strategically focused on this area of the business, that's what I think is going to be really important. And then from there, I go into our priorities for the next year. Now, for the last few years, Trainual, we've been using OKRs, which are objectives and key results. And that's just a framework for goal setting. But regardless of what framework you're using in your business, you probably have some banner goals for the year, typically 3 to 5 big banner goals where you'll have some objective and then you'll have some way that you're measuring success in that objective. And I'll give you an example. So one of ours for the last year was around staying aligned, keeping our culture really strong as we grow. And the way that we were going to measure that is making sure that we have a employee net promoter score, an engagement score that was at least an 85 where it had been the previous year. So we have a measurement, we've got a way that we're going to hold ourselves accountable, and we've got this strategy that we're thinking about for the next year. Now, not everything that we're going to do is planned out on how we're going to make this come to life. But at the beginning of the year, what we are doing is communicating that this is a strategic priority for us. And you and your teams and your departments will work on how you can contribute to this goal being achieved by the end of the year. And so I always break down our top 5 goals, our top 5 OKRs, and then I end the letter with something sort of like a thank you. And here's your role in getting us to these goals and to this strategy. So again, it's a nostalgic kind of letter. It's typically 2 to 3 pages, but it summarizes our progress that we've made over the course of a year. And then it talks about our biggest strategic goals for the next year. And I send this out right around New Year's every year. And it's one of my favorite things that I do. The other thing that we do is kind of an all hands annual kickoff meeting. And that follows some of the same format here, but it's more of a live interactive kind of experience. And so in the all hands meeting, whether we do it in person or we have people logging in remotely, the whole purpose of that event is to celebrate and to get aligned going forward. So last year when we did this, we got everybody together in this big room. We flew people in. Anybody that could make it came in person. And it really was exciting to get, honestly, a stage and be able to talk to everybody and get everybody psyched for the next year. And we started by, again, celebrating the wins, but not just metrics this time. We went around the room and had each person contribute and say what's something that they're really proud of accomplishing this year. What's something that's better this year than it was last year. And each person around the whole room, dozens and dozens of people, were able to contribute and able to give each other a round of applause. And it really built up this momentum for the meeting. Then I used most of the time to talk about the big strategic projects and the big things that we want to unveil as a business. And so for us last year, we had a new metric that we were going to be tracking that was going to be brand new to everyone. And so this is an opportunity to educate and to get everybody around the same screen and teach them about why this thing is so important in our business. And so think about your company. What is the most important thing that you want to educate your team on to get them aligned on going into the new year? Use this captive time coming off the high energy of those celebrations to really get everybody pouring their focus into this area of the business. It sets the tone for the year. And then after that, go into your strategic priorities and say, these are the themes, these are the goals or priorities of what we're going to be focused on for next year. It always helps if you can interject some fun. So we have our marketing team put together some really cool recap videos to show off the fun stuff that we've done through the year, maybe photo montages from events when we've gotten together, and just any other exciting updates like from our product team of new functionality that's coming out. Anytime you can have one of those extra exciting moments, but wait, there's more, it always adds a lot of excitement to the meeting. And so infuse those if you can. And then just wrap up at the end again, thanking everybody. And that for us is a great way to head into our holiday party that we host every year. So I think the end of the year into the beginning of the next year is an incredible time to reflect and to plan and to get aligned. And so don't let this opportunity pass. Use one of these two tactics, either an in-person meeting, a Zoom or online meeting, or just a simple letter from you as a founder, as a CEO, as a leader to your team. Reflect on what's been great. Think about what you need to work on in the future and where you're going to pour your team's attention, and then thank everyone for all of their contributions. Don't miss out on this opportunity.